everyone, and welcome to the second part of this video. If you missed the first part, I will link it in the description, but yeah, we're effectively writing songs together. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the people who watched the first video. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Again, I had some really good suggestions in the comments. I tried them all. Some did work, some didn't. There was a couple that, yeah. But yeah, I think for the most part, that you guys sort of captured the feel of what I was doing. You understood what the song was about and where we're going with it. But today we're going to sort of, elaborate a bit more on the story of the song. And so far we've got 2 verses and a chorus. So, that we've still got a fair way to go. So let's get into it. All right, actually, hang on. Yeah, okay, so there was one thing that I just wanted to quickly talk about. Now, as part of these series of videos, essentially what I'm going to be doing is taking you through my songwriting process, how I piece songs together. This is a journey for me as much as it is for you, but I am going to be using a set of, guidelines that I've learnt over many years playing music, particularly many years in writing songs. And my hope is that any songwriters out there will be able to sort of take some of the things that I'm doing and actually sort of use it in their own material. One of the major things that I sort of learnt while I was going through my songwriting process was not to get too caught up in the realm of progressive music. In general, progressive music basically just means that it's not mainstream. It's more sort of pushing the boundaries of music, which is great. And you have a lot of people that do it very well. The problem in my experience, and unless you actually do progressive rock really, really well, it tends to come off just not great and ends up just being a whole sort of convoluted mess of a song. For most of us, writing songs is about getting those songs heard. But, you also want people to listen to them and you want people to enjoy them. But in general, if you are creating songs that are so far outside the norm of what people would expect to hear, after a bunch of listens, they might sort of go, oh, this song is crazy, but I want people to sort of connect with the song, usually on the first listen. In my experience, the way to do that is to structure your songs in a way that people expect to hear them. If you listen to any song that's sort of in mainstream radio, you will pretty much be able to tell where the chorus is going to drop because they all follow this fairly standard formula. Now, I'm all for doing things differently, and certainly within that formula, you can even sort of push the limits a bit. When you start straying too far outside of that formula, you tend to sort of lose people. And that formula is verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, out. That's pretty much the award-winning formula for songs. Think about that when you're writing your songs. Again, this is art. You don't need to stick to that formula. When you're creating art, you also have to subjectively think about the audience that you're creating that art for. Again, if you don't care about what people think of your music, kudos to you. Go nuts. If you're creating songs specifically because you want people to listen to them and digest them quickly and go, man, I love this song, and then share them around, stick to the formula. It works. Anyway, that being said, let's get back to it. Okay, so now we can get into it. Let's just recap on where we were last time. Now, you'll remember in the previous video I was using the vibraphone sound, which was I just don't think I love it anymore. I'm not feeling it, guys. We're changing back to our piano. Show me someone who doesn't love piano. I'll wait. See? This is what I've got sort of so far. All right, so we've got the first couple of verses, the pre-chorus, and then the chorus. I have put some thought into the chorus. I wasn't really sort of sold on what we had. It's still starting with the yo ho ho ho. So we still got the yo ho 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 and a bottle of rum. The second part of the chorus, so the lyrics are, I couldn't tell you what happened that day, but they didn't get married and I didn't get paid. I guess when it came to the crunch, they just couldn't get past the part of their vows that read, till death do us part. Immediately I was sort of thinking about their vows and hang on, I gotta be with this person till I die. And maybe they're just not the type of people that want to be with the same person until they die. Some of us just aren't. Monogamy isn't for everyone. It's an acquired taste. Maybe they are head over heels in love with each other. Sure. But maybe one day I'm going to get sick of you. So I've got this new wording within the second part of that chorus. And then immediately after the chorus, it sort of goes into a bit of a halftime thing. So it sounds like this. I will play the second part of the chorus into the sort of progression there. I guess when it came to the crunch, they just couldn't get past the part of their vows are read, till death do they part. So that's what we've got so far. Now we just need to work on the second verses. So one of the suggestions that sort of came through on the last video was sort of thinking about how people act at weddings. Like, for instance, the end of a wedding, you know, it's the last song. You finish that last chord. You're like, yep, good night, everyone. One more song. 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 Shut up. Every time. To the point that now I don't actually even announce that I've finished. I don't even announce that it's the last song. I just stop playing, put the guitar down and walk away. And usually they're either just drunk enough that 15 minutes later they'll be like, "Are you finished?" By that time I've already packed up a fair amount of my equipment, at least enough that I'm not going to reset it back up. Or they're too drunk and they actually just don't even notice. Always the same sort of people. The young guy who... this is one of his first times ever drinking, and he's throwing up in the bushes by 9 o'clock. So I'm sort of thinking about these people, how, like, you know, the night would progress had the wedding actually gone ahead. Everyone thought they'd be dancing the night away. I like that, dancing the night away. I don't DJ. Well, I mean, I have. I can do enough that I can sort of entertain people at the end of the night, which by that time they've usually had enough beer that they don't actually even care. I'll finish playing music and then I'll get onto the decks and, like, you know, start sort of mixing it up. At weddings, that people will request songs that they would never listen to at any other time. Here I am doing the dishes. I just need to hear Nutbush City Limits. You never hear that song outside of a wedding. And for some reason, everyone's like, they know it. They know the dance moves. Where do you learn this? Is there like a tutorial video? Because I don't know the dance moves. Literally every wedding I've been to, and I don't know the dance moves. How do you people know these moves? Requesting songs, making requests for songs that they never play. Nah. Alright, so I have to find some way to get this in there. Asking the DJ to play all these crappy songs. He's making the DJ play shitty songs that they... Ooh! I need it to sort of rhyme to fit in there. Everyone thought they'd be dancing the night away. I'm going to use the word they to rhyme with away. But they is actually going to be like the middle of the sentence. Everyone thought they'd be dancing the night away, making the DJ play shitty songs that they would never request if they weren't all as pissed as a... I don't think I want the word pissed in there. They would never request if they weren't all 3 sheets to the wind. 3 sheets to the wind. That's Australian terminology for pissed, by the way, because you just sort of imagine it's flapping in the wind. Shouting and laughing and rolling and barfing. So I'm thinking about this poor kid. He's just turned 18. This is his first experience with an open bar. He doesn't know what to do with it. His parents are like, mate, you're an adult now. By about 8 o'clock, they're like, maybe you should slow down. He's never been in a legal environment where he can drink as much as he likes. 9 o'clock comes and he's in the bushes. Technicolor yawning, as someone commented on my previous video. Hang on, I need to get this terminology right. Involuntary horizontalization. Let's not. Poor old Jay. Let's call him Jay because that seems like the sort of name of someone who would just end up in the bushes at 9 p.m. Jay he's not doing well. This is him. This is the progression of his night. Shouting and laughing and rolling and barfing. Shouting and laughing and rolling and barfing and talking. And then I'm thinking about the uncles and the aunties and the grandparents all sitting around. Well, they all think that they're dickheads, but they're here for a wedding, so they have to sort of tolerate each other for at least this night, and they're all being quite pleasant. You know, these people who all grew up together and have all known each other for longer than anyone else in their lives. And what are they talking about? The weather. Discussing the weather. I don't know, what else do you talk about to people that you just... The stock market? Let's talk about the stock market. Shouting and laughing and rolling and barfing, discussing the weather and whether it's better to close your position. Previous verse. Would never request if they weren't all 3 sheets to the wind. That wind word. To sort of, I guess, rhyme out this last line in this. To close your position or go for a longer term win. We can work on this. If you've got a better suggestion, please let me know. Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay in touch with these. Shouting and laughing and rolling and barfing, discussing the weather and whether it's better to close your position or go for a longer term win. Repetition is also a big thing when you're talking about songwriting. People want to be able to sing the lyrics. That's what sort of gets people excited. They can sing the lyrics, they can understand, they can hear it once and go, oh, yep, cool, I got that bit, yep. You see, the thing is that when we're talking about the pre-chorus, which in the last bit was just when we thought they might both say I do, we can't use that again because it doesn't gel with the story. That part of the day is gone. What would have happened if they'd got married? That didn't happen. Without the key performers, without the stars of the show, how can I sort of get this? What? This is killing me. Without the bride and groom saying I do, none of that happened and nobody spewed. But without the bride and groom saying I do, none of that happened and nobody spewed. The previous line, the groom laughed and said, it's been a hell of a week. What I want to do is I want to use the anti-side of that. The bride laughed and said, it's been a hell of a week. This is one of those situations where I know the last rhyming word. Now I need to find the rhyming word for the sentence before it. Something about seeing, something about the parents were like, there's nothing to see. There's nothing to see here. Let's just go home. There's nothing to see. Everyone calm down. Without the bride and groom saying I do, none of that happened and nobody spewed. The parents just herded us out like there was nothing to see. Then the bride laughed and said, oh, it's been a hell of a week. Alright, so now what I need to do is I need to build a bridge. What I want to do with this is, because it sort of comes straight out of the chorus, so you've got the... And I want to actually sort of pull it right down, so... There's just a lot of joy at weddings. These guys didn't get there. They didn't finish. We're bringing the song into I guess a sad portion, you know. But they never got there, and maybe it's not fair. Some people find love to go through their century alone. If we're lucky, we get 100 years on this earth. We get a century. So they never got there, and maybe it's not fair that some people find love while others just burn up and crash on re-entry to go through their century alone. And they never got there, and maybe it's not fair that some people find love while others just burn up and crash on re-entry to go through their century alone. So this would be, so now that I've got the bridge, this would sort of be how it goes. And in the second part of the bridge, I'm sort of trailing it back into the pre-chorus. You can't tell me that it's all about love, 'cause I've seen what happens when love ain't enough. But this is the way that they wanted it to be. Then they both laughed and said, it's been a hell of a week. We would play the chorus through twice. That's our song. Part of their vows that read, till death do they part.